Most people think that if you want to make money on YouTube, you have to have a lot of followers and views or some sort of fancy offer to send people to. But they are wrong. And I'm going to show you in this video how I made about $50,000 in 14 days using mostly YouTube and how you can use my exact framework to replicate some form of this. It may not be 50,000, but what if it were 5,000? How much would that help you right now? And then how could you replicate it over and over again throughout the year? So most people build offers for like weeks or months, and they don't even know if people really want those offers. So they spend a lot of time on the front end second guessing themselves. If this sounds familiar, let me know. Also, let me know in the comments if you're ready to learn, if you're here for it, and make sure you are subscribed. If you're hearing crickets, not getting a lot of views or not getting a lot of people to actually convert to paying customers when you have your views, this video is going to be for you. Now, this video is also for people who have some type of offer, or even if you don't have an offer, you know your niche, you know your target audience, you know generally what you want to be doing. You have that figured out, and you also know that you have talent and skill. And so it's not for the very, very beginner. Okay. I want to make sure you know that. Now, if you're a beginner, you can watch it, learn about it, and then have it in your back pocket for another time. And it gives you kind of a direction to go in. But this is for people who have maybe sold something in the past, or maybe you've worked for someone else and you have a bit of a foundation. You know where you want to go, but you don't know how to get there. So I'm going to show you my 5-day framework that I used to generate about $50,000 in 2 weeks. It was a simple live challenge, okay? So you know these challenges are when you spend time with an audience for a few days. A challenge can be one day, but usually you want to spread it out over a few days so that they can get to know you. And here's something most people don't talk about when they talk about challenges, because I've seen a lot of videos about challenges. They don't talk about how you're naturally filtering people by having it be over multi days. What I mean by that is that it's kind of not easy, but it's a pretty simple thing to get people curious and come see you. But it is a real skill to develop to keep people interested throughout several hours over several days. And you want to filter people out. You want the people who do not like your training style or don't or find it boring or not interested after all to filter themselves out by not coming back the next few days because you want the highest engaged and potential to purchase people with you, riding with you. So sometimes I won't even talk about any kind of upsell or something that I'm going to sell to this group until we're deep into either the first, second, or even third day. But let me walk you through it, okay? So I have built a $1.2 million a year business education business. And I do that. It's not the only thing I have going because I have invested in more than 200 companies. I do a lot of other things with corporates, but this is something that is like pure entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I teach is YouTube and like the game of YouTube, because yes, it is a game. And one thing that I've learned over the years is that you can treat YouTube like a hobby. You can treat it like it's like a little thing you do on the side, or you can treat it as your own media company. And if you treat YouTube as your own media company, then there are a lot of things you unlock. So you're not just doing like a bunch of videos here and there and just figuring out what works. You're actually doing it with a plan. So that is why I decided to have a 5-day YouTube revenue challenge. I have spent the last 2 years building my YouTube channel to more than 200,000 subscribers, which you can see below. You can become one of them by subscribing. And I spent like 4 or 5 years where I got to 3,000 subscribers. So it took a long time. And then I figured out some stuff. And the stuff that I figured out, I said, okay, I want to teach this. So I have a course, a static course. I have a YouTube accelerator that's free inside of my Your First 5K membership. I have different things, but this was going to be really the first multi-day training that was live, that was interactive, where people could do things on the spot with me and then share what they're doing. So it's some so you want to pick something like if you do this 5 day challenge, and I suggest a 3 to 5 day challenge when it comes to doing these live. Okay. So what you want to choose is something that you really are interested in, something that you have worked on that you know more than most people showing up know. Okay, you got to know more about it. I see a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs creating products about things they themselves have not done or know enough about. And I'm going to be real with you. Write the word real, REAL. Write that in the comments if you're hearing me. I'm going to be real with you. Like that, I know there's a fake it till you make it, but there's also like you want to give value. And if you're doing that because you think, oh, I don't have enough value, I don't know enough to teach anybody that they would pay me, you're wrong. There is something that you know how to do, whether it's a certain way to fold your blankets on your bed, or a certain way to prepare food for school, or if it's a certain way that you do your hair, you know something that other people don't know and that they would pay for or they would be interested in. And so you have to stop making up things and like doing things like I've seen so many recently where it's like, whoa, you're doing this and I don't see this in your life. So I waited until I had the chops to do it. But you don't have to be so far along. Like I could have done one once I reached one shot, became monetized on YouTube, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I could have done one where it's like, oh, now I'm monetized way, way, way a long time ago, but I know how to go from zero to getting monetized. I could have done one where when I had my first 50,000 view video. Now I've had a video that had more than 500,000 since then, but that was something people didn't know, or 10,000 views, right? So if you see what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm saying, let me know. Okay, so you're going to find something that you enjoy, that you're good at, that you have some experience with, because this is a little bit more advanced than just the beginner. And you're going to find something that you believe that the market wants. Sometimes you don't know if they want it until you put it out there. So that's why you don't spend weeks or months building something until you know people are willing to pay for it. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a 5 day challenge. You're going to come up with a topic and you're going to come up with what should be in it. I'm going to tell you each day what should be in it so you don't have to worry about figuring that all out on your own. And if you want more help from me, I have trained a very sophisticated AI tool called Authority X Pro. I have trained it on all of this. So it has everything else that I train, but I've also now updated it with my 5 day framework for the 5 day challenge. And if you want to sit side by side with me, so to speak, have me as your co-founder 24/7 whenever you need it. The link in the description below will show you how to get it. It's called Authority X Pro, and you get all the information you need on the website itself. So if you have any trouble with any of this, just use that and it'll tell you step by step for your niche, for your audience, for your circumstances, what to do. But I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, even if you don't get that. So the 5 day curriculum I used to deliver a transformation that made almost 50,000. And soon as right after I tell you the framework, I will tell you the math because you need to know the numbers to understand why this worked and why it worked so well and why it was a surprise even to me. So day one, I did, and I'm going to show you what I did and how you can apply it. So day one, I helped people find their niche on YouTube. So yours could be how to find whatever gold it is. So whatever your topic is, think about the number one or number two question people ask you to get started or what they would need to understand to do the rest. And that will be your day one. So in my case, a lot of people and most people say, I don't know what my channel should be about. So I made that day one of the curriculum so that we would get that out of the way so people could feel more courageous and more confident and ready to accept the rest of the information. So I spent a solid amount of time on it, almost 2 hours, I think it was an hour and 40 minutes. And I put that there. And actually, I put a sneak peek of it. So you don't even have to buy it to review it and understand what I did. It's it's on my YouTube channel. So just search my YouTube channel for sneak peek. I think that's what I title it. Sneak peek is in the words. And you can see how I delivered it, what I did. On that, I'll tell you the math in a minute. I was going to tell you how many people were watching, but I'll tell you the math in a moment. Okay. So the before you can make a single dollar on YouTube, you got to know who to show your videos to. So this was my thinking for why would I have that as day one? So you can write that down like find your gold or whatever it is for the person, for the user. Then day two, actually on day one, you also want to establish why you're here. Like why is this challenge necessary and valuable? So you have that, you set the stage and the foundation. Very simple. Then on day two, what I did was your clickable content. So I ramped things up. Are you the age where you've ever made a mixtape for somebody? And if you know that mixtape etiquette says that you started off with a banger and then you have your second song even better because you want to like really go out and show people that you have the skills and the chops. So that's what you do with this 5 day challenge. Your day one is like foundational, also gives people a quick win because they get to find their niche. And then the day two is I'm going to show you how to make something really awesome. So mine was how to get people to click on your videos. So I taught them about thumbnails and I taught them about titles and the hook, all the important packaging that gets people to actually click on your videos so they can see your videos. And this was incredibly valuable so that if the person on day one dared to come back on day two, they had the courage and the time to come back on day two, whether it's live or in the replay, because they treat them equally, then they were going to be like, oh, I have another win. Like I know more than I knew yesterday. This is so cool. Even if I don't do the rest of the days, I feel smarter. So you give them a lot of the good stuff on day two. And then day three, you knock them out. Your 5 day challenge does not have to be about making money in any way. Your 5 day challenge could be about mindset. It could be about all types of things as long as you give it a title that's very clear and not too vague. Mine was about making money. So on day three, I said, here is how you connect what we learned on day one and two to actually making money. But whatever your challenge is, whatever the main thing, premise of your challenge is, that's when you're going to hit them on day three. How do you make money? How do you get your mindset straight? You get them with the POW on day three. And this is for a couple of reasons. One reason is day three might be when most people have to go out, like they've ridden with you for a while, but a lot of people who are really good candidates to be customers of yours are thinking about, okay, this is my last day. So you want to give them a lot of value that they can attribute to you. And another reason is this is when you really, really sell. You want to sell because you can have a 3 day challenge and this is day three where you would really sell, or you can have a 5 day challenge and day three is where you really start to sell. On days one and two, you can have something in the background. Like for me, you'll see if you watch the video, the sneak peek, I had my upsell written on the whiteboard and I could point at it and refer to it. But day three is we're talking about connecting the engine to cash so I could really drive home. Actually, these tools will really help you. So then day four, you want to have, what I did was I looked at another thing. You know how on day one, we looked at what is something that people always use as an excuse, or it's just something that holds people back from starting. That's what we kind of cleared that hurdle on day one. Day four, you want to clear another hurdle. And the next thing that people tell me is, I don't know what to make to begin with. So that's day one. I don't know what this should be about. But then the next one is, I don't know what to talk about all year long. I don't know what my videos should be called and like what they should be about. make a lot of content. I don't know how to do that. So on day 4, I gave them, this is how you make never-ending content. This is the never-ending idea machine. So on day 4, you want to take another hurdle and help with that, help them understand that hurdle. Again, it's about making your attendee feel very smart and feel like they have these quick mini wins, MINI, mini wins, okay? You might even introduce some sort of method on day 4 that you have not introduced before so they can take it home with them. And then day 5, I always do this. I have more than one 5-day challenge. I have a 5-day challenge, $100 offer, 5-day challenge that's free inside my classroom that I linked below. I have a school 5-day challenge. I have other 5-day challenges. I have a 3-day challenge with Lovable. And what I like to do on day 5 or day 3, the last day, I love doing this. I've done this for years, is I like to say, how do we do all of what we just learned, but as a flywheel or on autopilot? How do we repeat this, rinse and repeat, so that it's easier and easier and easier to do the more you do it? Because that gives people hope and it gives them something to really drive home all the things you taught them from the first few days. And then it also gives you a perfect opportunity to sell your upsell, which is what we're going to talk about in the math, to an audience that has ridden with you day after day after day. They understand the assignment. They've probably had some wins already. And so they know that what you have to sell them is going to help them with this. And you want to make sure that you match this upsell that we're going to talk about with the actual challenge. Don't upsell something that has nothing to do with the challenge. Okay, so let's talk math. If you're ready to talk math, put the word math, MATH, down below in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss these videos, because I'm going all in 2026 and 2027. I'm not stopping. So I want you to see these videos. Okay, so the math, I'm going to take my pen out so I can help myself with it. The math is, how did I get $50,000 in 2 weeks? Okay, so I'm want to say here, you will probably not have these results. I'm not making any guarantees. I don't know that you'll make this much money or any money at all, because it depends on a lot of variables. It depends on what you do. It depends on what you sell. It depends on how hard you go in on the promotion, and it depends on how big your audience already is. All good. But like I said before, even if you don't make 50,000 in 2 weeks, what if you made 5,000 or 500 and you learned every single time you did this to make more? So the math, what I did was I sold this 5-day challenge for $99. I have free challenges that I've done in the past, and I have ongoing as evergreen challenges. But I wanted this one to cost money because I knew I was going to put 5 days into it. I knew I was going to do something like 5 to 7 or 8 hours of pure fire content. And I ended up doing that. I think it was like 8 hours plus, okay? And I knew that not only was it the time, but I knew that if the person who attended actually took the steps that I taught, their YouTube channel would be much better off for it, and they would be set up in a way that people pay thousands for. So the value was in the outcome. So I did want to test it as, okay, what would happen if I charged? So I tested this last summer, a few months ago, by doing a 1-day workshop for YouTube and charging the same amount, and people bought that. So I thought, okay, this is probably going to work. My thought was maybe somewhere between 30 and 50 people will join, and that'll be really awesome. But that's not what happened. What happened was in the first week, so I promoted it for a week, like starting on a Sunday or Monday, and then I started it on a Monday, the following Monday. So I had a full week to promote, and then I started it, and as I held it, I was still promoting it, so people were joining. But overall, most people joined the first week, and 200 people total joined, 200. So you could look at it like, because I used YouTube for most of this and I used my school membership. Again, I have a large audience. So you don't want to like compare apples to oranges. You want to compare what you have. So if you want to look at it, I had 200,000 subscribers and 200 people join. So you could do it by the number of subscribers, although that's just like not science. That's not scientific. Or you could look at it from the number of school members I have and divide that by 200. So at the time I had about 20,000. So you could say like for every 100 I had somebody join. Again, it's not scientific. It won't be exact for you, but it's just one way. That's how I do it, at least. Okay. So I had 200 people join. Most of them, I'd say three-fourths of them, so maybe 150 of them during that first week. And then throughout it, people were still jumping in day 2, day 3, because they knew that they could get the replays. But if you do the math, 99 times 200 is almost $20,000. So that is incredible. That's fantastic. What really took it over the edge and got me more than double that, though, was my VIP upsell. And if you have taken any course, if you have purchased anything online like this from an educational guru type, you have seen that they have this. This is nothing that I have created. It is something that is just tried and true. But mine is a little bit different, or a lot different, because usually what happens is, okay, the thing costs $99 and then the VIP may cost anywhere between $199 and $500. And usually the VIP is you can ask a question during the live session, and that you pay an additional 500 and you get to ask your question from the guru. Or you can do this. I'm not telling you it's wrong. I'm saying I did something different. So this is one way. Another way I've seen is where the VIP is you get a bonus hour in a smaller group with the other VIPs before the main general admission session. So if the general admission happens at 11 a.m., from 10 a.m. to 11, you may be in this smaller group each of the 5 days or the 3 days. And you get to really hear from them what they're about to talk about, get deeper insights, and yes, maybe even ask a question or two. So I've seen those work, and I've seen it between $199 and $499. And I've also seen it where they do not charge for that 99, but they just do VIP upgrades. Okay. So I would recommend charging that 99 or that 47 or 49, because you want people who are there who are already willing to pay if you want to really experiment with this. But again, there's more than one way to do it. My VIP was it's yes, you get the replays, and that's another part of the VIP for other people. They get replays. Yes, you get the replays. Yes, but you also get like this AI bundle. So I turned my 360 pass into my VIP upgrade for this. Even though my 360 pass exists on its own for $360, I turned it into, this is the VIP version. So somebody would go to my stand store, they would click on checkout. If they wanted to upgrade, they click upgrade to VIP, and it would add $261 to make the full amount 360. So you paid 360 total for VIP that includes this challenge. And it comes with, if you're not familiar with the 360 pass, because you maybe the first day you're seeing me, or you just may not know, it comes with a lot of like operating systems that I've built around YouTube. So that was the most important one, around Lovable, which you can kind of coordinate with YouTube, around Stand Store, which is what I use to pay, like to charge for this. And I made almost $600,000 at this point in less than a year on Stand, and several other things like AI prop shop, everything else. Okay. So you get an incredible deal. Incredible deal. That's not something I built that day. It's something I had been building over time. So I added that. And then I forgot to say, you get like weekly calls with me, because 360 Pass comes with weekly calls. So it was just like a no-brainer, big, big bundle. So during the first 7 days of promotion, something like 30% of the people, like 1 in 3, so 33%, 1 in 3 people who ordered the $99 went ahead and upgraded to VIP on the spot. So that was already like boom, boom, boom. We're already doubling. Okay. And then during the challenge itself, I got that number to above 50%. So in other words, more than half of the people who joined the challenge upgraded at some point, either at the beginning at checkout or during the challenge after they understood more and more how it would help them. They upgraded to VIP, aka 360 Pass in my case. So, what did we learn from that? You have your main challenge, and your challenge is where you're showing people that you're trustworthy, you're showing them you know what you're talking about, you're engaging with them, you're spending time with them, answering their questions, etc. And you're also able to expose them to an upsell. So you charge 99 and you may charge 47 or 49. You may even do it for free if you feel like that will bring enough people in who will buy. But it's a little risky because I've done that too. And I did like a workshop where it was free and like 500 people came to it, very excited, gave them incredible value for this topic, this other topic, and nobody bought because they got everything they needed for free. So I would recommend for this experiment that you do this 99. Now remember, if you get Authority X Pro, you have me as your sidekick, and it's been trained on this framework, so it knows how to help you walk through this step by step. Now, you have that, and then you have some sort of upsell or order bump. It's called an order bump because it's actually right when you're making the order. You just click a button and it goes up. And you can do this really easily with Stan Store. You can do this on almost every uh, e-commerce site worth its salt has an order bump feature. So then that made me $50,000. Let me tell you how I missed out on another 50,000. I could have made this $100,000 launch. You ready? Let me know in the comments if you're ready, and also make sure you are subscribed below. Okay, so how I could have made twice as much is that I have a product or an offer that costs $5,000 to $15,000. It's a high ticket offer, and it is about YouTube. It is my YouTube studio offer. I've had it for more than a year, like a year and a half. It is where my personal team, my editing team, that is a full team that I use with clients, edits videos on a weekly basis for a client. And my team and I also help them establish their niche and tell them exactly what videos to post. And it's more like human based, right? We use AI, we work with AI, but it's human based. We hold your hand. And it's 5,000, I think it's 5,000 as of this taping for the first 3 months. If you want to do this, just test it out for 12 or 13 videos. And then you can pay 15,000 to get a deal, like a full year, I believe. I think that's the pricing. So on YouTube, this YouTube challenge, which not only had the 200 people who signed up, but it had another 300 people who had access to it at the time because they were already 360 Pass holders, and this was included. So some of them came to it. Many of them did. I had this audience for 5 days. So if I really wanted to, in addition to having the 360 Pass on the static in the background and talking to it when I talked about, hey, do you want to know what titles to use or what thumbnail? Because the YouTube OS is really, really helpful. I could have said on day 5, listen, you want this on autopilot. I've given you the tools you need. You know what you're supposed to do now because of the training. You also now have the tools because you joined 360. Do you want somebody to just do this for you? Do you want to just record once or twice a month and we just do the rest for you? YouTube Studio. But I didn't do that. And let me think about why I didn't do that. Okay, so I didn't do that because I think mainly I didn't think about it. I wasn't like strategically trying to make this the best launch of my life. I honestly was surprised by how many people signed up. I thought it would be 30 to 50 people, and it ended up being 200. So I really wasn't like, let me plan this out and make this perfect and do the best I can. Another reason is that I guess maybe I didn't want to like overshoot or be greedy, but it's silly. I could have probably out of 500 people had 5 to 10 people join YouTube Studio because it's a given that in any audience, about 5 to 10% of that audience can afford to pay you 10x whatever your 10x or more, whatever your main offer is. So there were at least 50 people who could afford it, quote unquote, or who, at least had the resources. Whether or not they wanted it or they could be convinced is another story, but there were people there. So I missed out on that bag. I don't know if I fumbled the bag because I wasn't really trying to throw it or catch it, but I definitely could have done that. So that means that you can take everything we just learned and you could also attach it to a higher ticket offer that you may have. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to have these challenges, and it's not just going to be about YouTube because I did another one for Lovable, which was really fun. I'm going to have these challenges and I'm going to talk about 360 Pass because it really is everything you need. And then I'm going to have my Authority X Pro as like, it's not high ticket. It costs like less than $1,000 for the launch price. And then the regular price is 2,000. So that's not high ticket. That's not 5 to 15,000 or more, but it's definitely something that I will think about as like, that's the goal because it'll help you in a way that none of the other offers can help you. None of my teaching can help you if you just listen to a video. Even if you did, honestly, even if you did a one-on-one call with me for an hour, or we sat next to each other for an hour and talked it through, it would not be as beneficial to the end user as having the 24/7 access to my AI brain. So I think it's always going to be the end goal for people. I made this little thing on yesterday's 360 Pass call because people were saying, what's the difference between your first 5K, 360 Pass, and Authority X Pro? And I said, it's about time. So you're going to get to the same destination with all three, but it takes longer with your first 5K just because you have more time than money. So it's free. So you just take more time learning and implementing. 360 Pass makes that in half, like cuts that time in half on average because you have all the tools now to do a lot of this for you, 70 to 80% of it. And then Authority X Pro does that in half that time, so a fourth of your first 5K time because it's just every question you have, everything you need created, all of your emails, all of your copy, all of your PDFs, everything is just done for you in a conversation, and it just helps people. So it's helped people. Like I put up a post. Let's see, I don't know if I can show, but I put up a post yesterday that Daisy sent me a text, and well, let me just show it to you. Let me just show it. If you're still here, you care, so you don't mind waiting, because I don't get my stuff edited very often, even though I have a full team of editors. Okay, so let's see. I'll do this. Daisy. I did this yesterday. So Daisy sent me this. Well, first Colin, who is my sales guru and an expert inside of my higher ticket, he sent this. He said, "Hey Arlan, Daisy made $2,000 in 24 hours with Authority Pro X. He called it Pro X, but it's called X Pro, and $3,500 in 4 days." And I'm like, "What?" She just sent me that text saying you told her to let me know. This is wonderful, and that happened yesterday. So then this is what Daisy actually said first. She said, "Hi, Arlen. I just got off my call with Colin," because you get calls in my inner circle. And she said, and I shared with him that in the last few days, I've made $3,500 using Authority X Pro. I made 2,000 within the first 24 hours of using it. And then she talks about what her new offer is. And it says, "I love the offer, and Authority X Pro walked me through every step." And then I said, "Oh my God, can I share this?" And she said, "Yes, absolutely." So it's like, this is a person, by the way, Daisy is a person who pays me $6,000 a year to have my phone number. And this is more traction than she's had in about 6 months with me because it's inexhaustible. It answers every question. It's trained on everything I know. And I just can't give that type, no human can give that type of attention to thousands of people, but the AI version of me can't. My clone can't. So it's just too cool. So I hope that that helped you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments because I want to answer those questions. If I don't answer your question in a comment reply, I'll probably put it in a video response. So look out for my next videos to get those responses. Okay, I'll see you soon.